This central London hotel opened its doors in December. 50% of its rooms are still under construction, as is a rooftop restaurant. These rooms are just some of around 8,000 new hotel rooms planned to open in the capital this year, and that's up from an annual average of 3,000 in recent years. For this hotel, though, there are no concerns about the market potentially becoming oversaturated.
I'm a firm believer that competition is good. It definitely makes everyone a lot more aware of the new trends that are happening, the things that are in, and that hotels need to tune in to attract the guests.
10 new hotels have opened in London this year, and 64 are scheduled to launch by the end of 2020. This one behind me, the Londoner, is one of the most highly anticipated, but its future, and indeed that of the rest of the industry, could be in serious doubt.
The unexpected and unprecedented impact of the coronavirus pandemic is hitting many industries hard, and hotels aren't immune.
Our initial look at data does showcase that the drop is stronger than the global financial crisis of 2008. And we really are in uncharted times, uncharted territory. We have never seen something like this affect the global hospitality industry so quickly and so greatly as the coronavirus.
While many hotels have taken precautions to stem the spread of the virus, lockdown is forcing most to close, at a time when occupancy rates in the capital have dropped by more than 40% in the last few weeks.
We've seen hotels close across many markets across the world. As demand dries up, there's also, of course, talk that hotels will be utilised as additional hospitals, for example.
Even in China, where the country is beginning to recover, hotel occupancy is just 20%. London's hotel industry, which saw occupancy rates of more than 80% last year, is expecting a bounce back once the situation is under control. What's difficult for them to predict is exactly when that's likely to happen. Natalie Powell, TRT World, London.
Well, for more on this, Yael Selfin, the chief economist at KPMG in the UK, joins us now from London. Welcome to Money Talks, Yael. Now, as we know, Boris Johnson has announced an unprecedented lockdown of the UK in an address to the country last night. I'm wondering, from what you know, what impact will this have on the UK economy as a whole?
Well, in the short term, we are going to see a significant deceleration in production. It is going to effectively more than half output in the UK in Q2. So it will have a very sharp impact on the UK economy in the short term.
Now, what is the Johnson administration proposing in terms of stimulating the economy? What measures have been announced in that regard?
So there's been a range of measures. Effectively, the Chancellor had 3 budgets so far in about 3 weeks. We had initial measures to help with deferral of taxes. We had initial measures to help with public services, so a significant injection of funding for the NHS. And then more recently, we had help with wages of up to 2,500 months for employers that are finding it difficult to keep staff on board. And we've also seen quite a significant amount, around 330 million of loans, potential loans for businesses. So overall, in terms of the amount of spending, it is still unknown a little bit because some of it is not capped, but it is a fairly significant amount.
Now, we know that governments around the world have been racing to implement economic and stimulus packages to shield their economies from the effects of this crisis. But central banks, as we know, have also swung into action, including the Bank of England. Can you tell us more about what the UK's central bank has enacted in response to this pandemic?
So the Bank of England had a range of measures that it announced. The more if you like, the highlight of it would have been the cut, the unprecedented cut to 0.1% of interest rates that we've never had before. But there's been a range of other measures as a reacting of QE that is now in place, as well as a special term loans that is also in place now, and additional liquidity measures that the Bank of England has announced. Overall, the way we see things, you could say that there's been a lot of help from both the Bank of England and the government, but we will probably need to see more measures announced later on, because there's still quite a lot of stress, if you like, in the real economy that would need to be addressed in the short term.
Yes, can I ask you just a follow-up question on what the Bank of England has done? So as you say, they've announced a quantitative easing program of their own. They're looking to kickstart their purchase of bonds. How effective will that be in keeping the economy afloat?
I think all of it is very significant because we would need more liquidity. What we're hearing at the moment on the ground, that there hasn't been that much demand for some of these. I think it is a little bit early days for us to see how effective this would be. But I think when you think about the need of businesses, we will probably need to see a little bit more in terms of funding and direct, if you like, intervention by the government for industries that are particularly under stress. So, for example, the airline industries, some of the hospitality businesses in hospitality may need a little bit more assistance, as well as those that are self-employed and those that run very small businesses.
Okay, Yael Selfin, Chief Economist at KPMG in the UK. Thank you so much again for your analysis.